This program is brought to you in part by the Royal Bank of Canada, serving Canadians for 126 years, one customer at a time.
Hello, and welcome to a documentary edition of DNET, the Disability Network. I'm Ing Wong. The population of our country is getting older. We're living longer. As a matter of fact, we're living a lot longer. If the age of the population continues to increase at the current rate, when I become a senior in 4 decades, there will be 3 times as many seniors as teenagers. Half of all seniors have some form of disability. Most spend their lives living in their own homes and want to continue doing so for as long as possible. On today's program, we'll take a look at how that can be done safely.
When you're young, you're more resilient, you can adjust to changes, but when you're old, it's very hard. Leaving your home is a very traumatic thing. We bought this house in 1964, and we really liked that area, and so we didn't want to go away. And there's a girl. I think if you're willing to make certain changes to your home, it may be possible for you to stay in a home instead of having to move out or going to a nursing home or senior citizen place. I think most people would make the choice if they can do it. I do think about myself as a person with a disability now, since my knees in the last few years got to the point where walking is difficult. I used to love walking. Walking was almost like dancing for me. This is now very difficult. I have to walk with a cane if I walk longer distances, or with some kind of support, like I use my bike or baby carriages. I'm pretty good in pushing around baby carriages.
Helga Haberfellner turned 68 this year. She has arthritis, and her husband also has a disability. A few years ago, they realized they'd have to make changes if they were going to stay at home and do it safely.
You get set in your ways when you get older, you get used to things, and all of a sudden everything is different. There are new surroundings, new people you have to deal with, and as I say, very often loss of independence. You cannot decide anymore for yourself. Other people start to decide for yourself. And this is certainly a very stressful thing older people have to go through. And if it can be prevented by making changes in the home or getting help from, not only from people you hire, but from your relatives, I think the family has to come in there. It was one of my sons that kept saying, if you want to stay in that house, you should have a downstairs bathroom. Going upstairs and downstairs became kind of a problem, so we finally agreed.
People are often afraid to make safety modifications to their homes because they think they might be unsightly, disruptive, or expensive.
I would have done it a lot sooner if I had known how nice and comfortable it is. Everything we did change seemed to be useful. Our contractor was very efficient, and they cleaned up after themselves, and they also finished in time. So I'm very happy with the results. Yeah, I like what he did, really. Usually, in a house you cannot change the way your staircase is built. You might be able to add an extra railing or so that you can hold on to it. The steps to the outside sometimes can be changed, particularly patio steps or something into the garden. And then if you plan something like that, you should plan steps that are wide and shallow, kind of, so that it's easier to walk down.
Making your home safe doesn't necessarily mean costly major structural changes. Retrofitting offers many benefits and can make an enormous difference in the safety of your home.
I think one of the main dangers is the bathtub. People keep slipping and falling into the bathtub and getting bad injuries. So you have to have mats in the bathtub. And on the side of the bathtub, you can get little mats, they are non-slip, and you can kind of hold onto them so you don't slip and fall back into the tub. There are chairs available that you can put in a shower, and you can shower yourself in a sitting position, which probably is quite convenient for some older people.
People always carry things in and out of the kitchen, so replacing kitchen doors with handle-free swing-through doors makes sense. Because there are no doorknobs to grapple with, the likelihood of dropping things or falling is greatly reduced. The Haberfellners have made other similar structural improvements to their house. They've also made minor changes, and with a little thought, they've come up with simple solutions to some of the difficult situations they've encountered.
I sit down when I do dishes, and it's a high stool so I can get up.
They use a kettle with an automatic shutoff. They've installed illuminated light switches and light switches that are sensitive to the touch.
We have put support underneath chairs to make them higher.
Sometimes safety doesn't mean addition, it means subtraction, as is demonstrated here.
Yeah, a dangerous thing in the house are loose rugs, particularly loose rugs on wooden floors that are slippery, and then people step on them, then they slide away and people fall. But also loose rugs otherwise, because they bunch up, your foot get caught and you might just fall, and if possible replaced by solid carpeting of some other kind. I would like to stay here if I can, but if things are as they are right now, I think I will be able to stay.
In order to make changes, it's important to be aware of what's available. When we come back, we'll join Helga Haberfellner as she finds out more about products designed to help in the home. As people grow older, it's important to keep informed about products that will help them maintain their independence and control. A good place to start is at the local hardware store. There's a growing list of off-the-shelf items that will make your home a safer place. Many of them are inexpensive and easy to use. In most hardware stores, people can't test out products, but there are places where it's possible. One of those locations is Access Place in Toronto.
Thank you. Welcome to Access Place. What can we do for you today?
That's where Helga met Betty Lou McCann to pick up some ideas. Betty Lou is Managing Director of Access Place.
Access Place is a demonstration and resource center for people with disabilities and anyone who has an interest in making communities, buildings, houses more accessible to people with disabilities, or to people who may have a temporary disability, such as a broken leg, a broken arm, or a mother pushing a stroller. All of those people find barriers within their everyday lives, whether it's a set of stairs or a doorknob when you're carrying your bags of groceries. So our idea is to provide the information to people to help them learn how to make the world a more accessible place. The bath lift allows someone to actually sit on the side of the tub, swing their legs in. By simply switching the switch, down it takes me into the tub, and I can actually soak in a nice hot tub of water.
Which is something some seniors really miss, I think.
Well, it
Yes,
is,
yes,
because
they do.
often people
Yeah.
will sit on a bath chair and using a shower system on a hose actually just shower themselves down in a
Yeah.
seated position.
Just not as nice.
No, this lets me get in and soak and enjoy the nice hot tub.
An important factor for seniors is making sure that safety modifications work for their specific disability. Some products may be safe for some people, unsafe for others. However, there are some items that make safety common sense for everyone, especially in the kitchen.
On a stove, there's a very simple idea. If I'm cooking on the stove, and again, I only have the use of one hand, and I need to be able to stir something like my creamed corn, I can very easily hold the pot still while I do my stirring. You probably don't notice what this area here in the kitchen is. The fan and the light underneath the stove in this kitchen are recessed underneath the cabinets instead of sticking out, so that if my vision wasn't as good as it had always been, I'm not in danger of hitting myself against the fan hood. This handy little gadget makes it easier for someone who doesn't have the ability to be able to turn a knob on and off to actually make it into a levered handle, which makes it simpler for me to turn things. And it's called a universal knob turner because it'll turn any size of knob. Here, why don't you try it?
This really works beautifully. It's an amazing little gadget.
For someone who might be in a seated position, like someone who was using a chair and may have difficulty reaching up high enough for a knob, is another knob turner that will actually slip over a knob and turn the knob. Instead of using a conventional range, we've used a countertop stovetop, opened the area underneath so again you can get under and sit, but it also allows us to put the oven up on the wall. So instead of bending down and picking that hot turkey up over top of a hot oven door, I can actually move the oven door right out of the way. By putting in a transfer area, I can actually take something out quite safely using some long-handled mittens, oven mitts, and again, nice and long-handled. Seniors tend to have less feeling in their arms, and so they might not
get
realize
burnt.
that they're getting burnt. So some nice long-handled oven mitts, and it gives me an area to stop, reposition myself, and then move it to where I'm going to move it, whether it be my trolley or another countertop. And so again, it's just a safer way of doing something we've done all along.
Simple safety features have been designed for people with low vision.
There are some really easy things that we've done in the kitchen, things like color contrasting. You'll notice the refrigerator freezer has good color contrast in the handles. And it's something that this manufacturer thought of when he was making the refrigerator. If it's hard for me to use a push-button telephone, here's a real simple product, a very simple to slide on overlay.
Bell's Big Number Buddy is designed with large, high-contrast characters that could be the critical link in an emergency.
Someone with a visual disability would have an easier time finding the numbers that they're looking for.
Many seniors have long lists of medications that they take on a daily basis. It's a list that can be hard to keep track of. Taking the wrong medication or the right one at the wrong time can be dangerous. There are simple ways of making that routine safer.
What are those little 2 boxes here?
Those are exactly right. Those are pill boxes. And one of them is, this one is a pill box that would allow me to take 4 doses of medication during a day. One of the things seniors do most often is forget whether they took their pills or not. This one would be for a whole week. So again, it's marked for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it's brailled as well. So if I was able to read Braille, the Braille markings are on here. And again, a family member could come and fill it up. And it's a nice way when you're traveling not to have to take all your pill bottles with you. You can fill it up ahead of time and take it with you. for removing lids off of pill bottles. I can actually remove it, or in this case, it's a pop-off top. So this would help me.
What is this here?
That's a pill splitter. Let's say your doctor decided that your medications needed to be cut in half. Well, it would be awfully difficult to split a pill like this. But we can very easily put it in place, drop the lid down, and there I have a perfectly split pill.
Ah, this is very practical.
The Acro rail will actually give me something that's really quite sturdy that I can pull myself up on.
And how is that
Access
secured?
Place is located in Toronto. There are similar centers in other cities across the country. Organizations for seniors may have more information. When we come back, we'll see how a major drugstore chain is responding to the demand for products that promote independence and safety. As the age of the population increases, so does the market for products designed for seniors. Stores that specialize in adaptive equipment and items for people with disabilities and seniors have been around for a while, but many of these stores primarily served a medical clientele. Doctors and therapists often had control over the choice of products for the people who needed them.
Today what you're seeing more is customers are becoming more educated. They want to make some informed decisions about their own personal care, about the care for their family members. So they like to have a setting where they can come in, they can try out some of these products, they can see how they're used, and also have some sort of say in the expense that they're faced with.
Things are changing. Corporations are catching on. They are realizing that seniors and people with disabilities want to shop around, have options, and make their own decisions. Among those corporations are local corner pharmacies and national drugstore chains. One of them is Shoppers Drug Mart. Al Rathwell is a technical specialist at one of Shoppers Drug Mart's home health care centers.
When a person comes home from the hospital, we can go in and assess the person's needs and assess the person's home, and then we can match the person's need to their home and make it accessible and make it comfortable for them to live in, and hopefully in a cost-effective way. Normally in the past, the person would be sent home from the hospital or the doctor's office and have equipment sent to them, and now we're trying to offer a little bit of choice where the person can come in or have some say on what type of equipment would be best for them. They can try hands-on equipment.
We've already seen a few adaptations for bathtubs. Here's another one, and there are many more. Other off-the-shelf items include ones that we've already seen at Access Place.
Some of the products we offer are ADL products, aids to daily living products, and they would be shoehorns, reachers, jar openers, small things that just make life easier around the house. The kind of changes we would make to a person's home, depending on the equipment, would be, say, ramps, elevators, widening doors, and a lot of times the bathroom has the narrowest door in the home, and that's almost always the first thing that needs to be changed, is the door needs to be widened.
It's important for us to assess every individual, assess their personal needs, assess the environment that they live, work, play in, and then match those needs together so that people can function more independently in their home.
Does living in the city or the suburbs make it easier to make safety changes to your home? What if you live in the country? Usually, things that work in a city home will also work in a country home. As we grow older, it's likely that we'll develop some form of disability. Aging and disability go hand in hand, but neither should necessarily hold people back.
Now, usually an arthritic will open a fridge door by threading a belt or a tea-cloth through. What I do is I have a blunt table knife taped to the fridge handle, and if it's a slight pull there, it will break the whole electrical seal all the way around the door. So so I can open it. Now that is what I call effortless.
A key to maintaining independence and ensuring safety is to be open-minded and willing to make changes and creative adaptations.
Barely been out of the house for 5 years except to hospitals, but I don't feel isolated. I feel the world is in my office here, in my living room, because I'm in touch through the net. While I'm sitting at the computer, I never feel any pain.
Seniors who live in many different situations are recognizing the importance of making their homes safe so that they can stay there as long as possible.
I'm a family physician and I'm still working part-time. And I see lots of older people in my office now. Some of those people are with me for a very long time. They kind of grow old with me. Their main concern is that they're afraid to get any long, disabling or painful illness. And the other main concern is to lose their independence or to have to go out of their home. I think this is a very traumatic experience for older people. And I think anything that could be done to prevent this should be done.
There are also regional support services for seniors with disabilities who want to stay at home. If you'd like more information, you can contact your local independent living center or seniors organization. We'd also like to know if you have any tips. If you do, drop us a line. Our address is coming right up. That's our program for this week. I'm Ming Wong. See you again next week. You can write to us at Disability Network, CBC, Box 500, Station A, Toronto, M5W 1E6. That's Disability Network, CBC, Box 500, Station A, Toronto, M5W 1E6.
This program is brought to you in part by the Royal Bank of Canada, serving Canadians for 126 years, one customer at a time.